This morning, an ongoing war of words between Kate Gosselin and her estranged son Colin following his allegations of abuse at her hands.
There's the truth, and then there's the truth from Kate Gosselin's point of view.
After announcing his tell-all memoir In the Shadow of Eight earlier this month, Colin now issuing a formal invitation to his mother in an interview newly posted to the YouTube channel Strange McKnights.
I would like to invite my mom to do a lie detector test. Mom, if you're listening to this, we would ask about the zip ties.
There's the truth, and then there's the truth from her point of view. Hold that sentence for a second, because if you grew up with a mother invested in her own narrative, you have lived inside that sentence your entire life. And did you notice how calm he is? No rage, no breakdown, just a composed young man asking for a lie detector test and naming zip ties like he's been holding that truth for a very long time, waiting for a moment someone would finally believe him. That composure is not an accident. That is what it looks like when you grow up being told your reality isn't real. You learn to present your case very carefully, quietly, with evidence, because passion gets dismissed as instability. So you become measured instead. You know what happened, and you know her version is different. And for years, maybe even decades, you have been wondering which one is real. Yours is real. That's what we're unpacking today. Colin Gosselin is 22 years old. He has a memoir coming out this week called In the Shadows of Eight. And this week he posted something on Instagram that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. He revealed that his mother, Kate, wrote in her own diary, her own words, that she had to pray to God to stop hitting him. He was 2 years old. Kate Gosselin built a public identity around being a devoted mother of eight. She had a TV show with her husband, a book deal, a brand built entirely around motherhood. And behind that door, a diary that told a completely different story. That gap between the mother the world saw and the mother you knew, that's what we're talking about today. When a mother invests heavily in her public image, in how the family looks, in what people think, in the performance of good motherhood, the child inside that household learns something very specific. They learn that the narrative matters more than their experience. And when your experience and the narrative are consistently different, when the mother who is warm and funny and beloved at church is someone very different at home, you don't have the developmental capacity to question the narrative. You're a child. So you question yourself. Am I remembering this wrong? Am I too sensitive? Maybe I deserved it. Maybe she didn't mean it. Clinically, this is called reality distortion, not in a dramatic sense, but in the quiet, everyday sense of a child whose internal compass gets scrambled because the external world keeps telling them something different from what they're living. And here's what that becomes in adulthood: you second guess your own perceptions, you minimize your own pain, you find yourself defending the person who hurt you to people who never had to live with her. Because the world's version of your mother is so strong, that contradicting it feels like a betrayal, even when you're the one who was betrayed. Children in these households often feel like they carry a profound, specific sense of loneliness. Not the loneliness of just being alone, the loneliness of being surrounded by people who love a version of your mother that you have never met, you don't experience. And underneath that is grief, not for a mother who was absent, but for a mother who was present for everyone else, who saved her warmth for an audience and something very, very different for you. As adults, people who grew up with appearance focused mothers often experience a few very recognizable patterns. One, people pleasing. Because you learned early that managing someone else's image and emotional state was your job, that keeping the peace was survival, and that skill, even though it's absolutely exhausting, it followed you into every relationship you've ever had. Number two, you have difficulty trusting your own reality, or that's a common feature. When someone tells you something hurtful, You don't get angry at first. You wonder if you misread it. You replay it. You give the benefit of the doubt until there's no more benefits to give, and then you give it again. Third, we see a hunger for external validation because the person whose validation mattered the most to you gave it to everyone else but you. So you learn to seek it from the world instead. And four, sometimes you'll see a compulsion to tell the truth, to name what you see, to be a truth teller, to refuse to participate in the performance, to refuse to put on the mask. Because you lived inside of one for so long, that silence now feels dangerous. That's what we're seeing right now with Colin. So, what do you actually do with this information? What do you do with these feelings, this knowledge? Here are two places to start. One, write the two versions down. Actually, get a piece of paper or actually pause this video right now and grab one. I want you to write two columns. On the left, the version of your mother the world knew, how she was described by others, what people said about her, the public narrative. On the right, your experience, not what you think you should have felt, what you actually felt, what you actually saw, what you actually lived. Most people who grew up in this dynamic have never put those two columns side by side because the gap between them is so painful. But the gap is also the truth. And seeing it in black and white in your own handwriting is often the first time a person gives themselves permission to say, these two things were not the same, and I was not wrong. I've built a full worksheet built around this exercise with additional prompts to help you go deeper. It's in the description below if you'd like to use it at your own pace through Simplified therapy. Step two would be to find one person to tell, not to convince, not to build a case, just to say out loud to one person who is safe what your experience actually was. This matters clinically because the wound of the appearance focused mother is often a wound of silence. The experience was never allowed to be named inside the house. Naming it out loud, even once, even to just one person, begins to interrupt that silence. That person can be a friend, a sibling who lived with you, a therapist, anyone who will hear you out without immediately defending her or telling you to forgive and move on. You don't have to be ready to forgive. You just have to be ready to say what happened. Colin Gosselin said, "This is why using my voice to put these things in the light is so important." He's right. The light is where healing begins. If this is your story, you are not alone. You are not too sensitive. And what you experienced deserved to be taken seriously a long time ago. My link is in the bio. The worksheet is also in the description. Drop a comment if this landed, and like and subscribe, and please share it with others because we go deeper every week and we're really looking to build the channel, or I'm really looking to build the channel. Thanks.